Hi. Tried to improve the background a little bit. Video I did at the weekend. First go at it, just using the natural light in the room, really. Sun streaming through the curtains, light on overhead. That was about it. And I've had this green screen for a little bit. I used it for a different project. I was using it for making videos for my science classes, which still doing a little bit of. It's quite hard to find the time as a teacher these days. But yeah, I thought, well, I'll use it for this. Might as well. And the thing about using a green screen properly is it's all about lighting, really. The screen itself is fine, but if you've got any shadow on it, it doesn't quite work, and it doesn't work. And you can see it's not quite perfect now. It's a big improvement on what it was, but it's not quite perfect. I mean, I've got I've set up a few more lights around me, some to illuminate me, some to illuminate the screen. That's what it's all about. One problem is that you can have not enough light, or lights in the wrong place, and you cast shadows. Another problem is you can have lights too close, and just sort of behind me to the left, I think that light is a bit too close, a bit difficult to move it further away within the confines of the room I have here. So, you know, I'll work on it. I'll use my amazing knowledge of physics to try and work it all out and see if I can improve it a bit better. But it's sort of, I mean, I say it looks all right now. I'm sort of talking to you having no idea how it's going to work out. But I did a few little tests, obviously, before I did this, and it looked better, a bit hit and miss, but we'll see how it goes. But what I'm really doing this video for is it's a bit of a fill. It's nothing that's going to help you in your gameplay. Same can be said for half my videos. It's just a more of sort of become a bit aware of the sort of like, I split between two main things really. There's retribution videos, which I've been doing for quite a bit recently, and then other things that are not retribution specific. So I thought I'd sort of consciously do things along themes, so you can dip into whatever interests you most, really. And of course, with all these, I'm always open to suggestions. I have some themes and topics planned out over the next coming weeks. But just as I've already responded to a few comments where people have put in suggestions, I am willing to do that. There's various ways you can get hold of me. You can put comments here. It's not like I'm being spammed with about 100 comments a day, so I, at the moment, get to read those. There's my Gmail email. I only use it for this anyway. And I have another email for all sorts of other things, so Gmail is no problem. Or Twitter, you can just get me on Twitter as well. I usually check that. I certainly check that daily, several times a day usually as well. Now, the four themes I think that I probably will do videos on. First of all, of course, retribution paladins. Now, apologies to those who aren't interested in those bits, but I'm going to talk about this bit. Now, this all started really at the beginning of summer. I've been putting videos on YouTube for a few years, but not for a large, it's not intended for a large audience. It's just been mostly kill videos, so that fellow guildies can enjoy it and watch their exploits back again, those people who took part in the kill. So it's not intended for a much larger audience than 20 to 30 people. Occasionally I put the other video on as well, like guides or beta stuff. I did a guide once in MOP, and just on something silly, because it was something that I'd tried to find myself and couldn't find, or I thought, and then I did it myself independently, and then I thought, but if I can't find it, maybe others can't do it. I just put it up there, and it got quite a lot of hits, like 40,000 or something stupid, which for me is a lot, and when I usually get about 100. And so, you know, that's sort of the aim that I want to do. I'm not trying to replicate anyone else, because I'm just doing this for fun. It's a hobby. It's just that sometimes there isn't the stuff out there, and sometimes there is, and it's really good, but maybe there's a few gaps that I think I could sort of fill up. So with that in mind, the retribution idea is, it came about when I thought at the start of summer, it's probably quite hard for people, especially people new to retribution, or even people who've been playing retribution for a while but really want to improve, to find good information. Because I always thought to myself, well, good information is out there. It absolutely is. It's out there. But maybe it's quite hard for people who don't follow the real top rets, like the top guys like Sol Sacra and co, to find that information, to sift it out from the general chatter that accompanies it, as well as the frankly poor advice. Because how do you know? If you know, how do you know what is the good advice and what is the poor advice, unless you're going to spend a lot of time trying both out? Maybe you don't have that luxury. And of course, people don't want to look at forums all the time. You look at YouTube. I do this. It's a piece of software I'm using, including the video editing program I shall be using in a moment, I go on YouTube to find the answer, because there will be someone there showing me how to do it. It's easier to see how someone's doing it when they're talking to you and showing you how it's done, as opposed to just reading it, which is fine, just not as good. So there'll be people who go to YouTube, and I went to YouTube and say, well, what's out there? It wasn't really anything good. The main good class guides are done by Preach, of course, we all know that, but they're very basic, and for Retribution Paladin especially, extremely basic. I'm not sure he's much of a Ret player, even though he did sort of threaten to play Ret this expansion. But yeah, so I thought I want something a bit more detailed. There were a few others putting guides out there. It's like, I looked at this thing, I thought, even before I watched it through, I thought, half an hour, how can you do it all in half an hour? If you're really wanting to push it, it's very different. There's so many things that you can know about this spec that half an hour doesn't really cover it. Because if I started doing a few guides. I just did a simple one on the class trinket to begin with, and a few more and a few more. I mean, some of my individual guides themselves are well over half an hour, and you add up the sum total of played time if you were to watch them all through. And of course, this is the other thing, by compartmentalizing them, you don't have to watch the whole thing through. Some of it may not apply, some of it you may already be proficient in. So the idea is do it on topics and sections, and you can pick and choose what you think you need the help with, and do a bit at a time, or maybe there's only one thing you think you need to brush up on, and there you go. So I think I've got that now. I think I've got a reasonable 6.2, and they all say 6.2 in the title, so it's really clear that in the next tier this will be out of date. I will update. Hopefully in the next tier I will do some more along the same lines, and update it with the new tier. Probably earlier in the tier. I am a bit wary of doing stuff early in the tier because it changes so much. I mean, I did a video on Retribution just before, wasn't intended as a guide as such, but just before 6.2 hit, based on PTR, okay? And part of what I was saying is get these trinkets, the Fellburn trinket and the Fellcleave trinket, must get them, you will use them on every fight. Next day they nerfed them. They just flat out nerfed them. Now, although we do use the Fellburn trinket, we don't use the Fellcleave trinket all the time. Do sometimes still, but they were heavily nerfed. So, and these things happen. And I'm wary of putting something out there and someone follows it when it's out of date, and I'm a bit worried because I certainly don't want someone doing something because I've said to do it and it's actually at that point wrong. Now, probably, I mean, I'm open to suggestions on this. Probably the best idea is to add an annotation at the start of those videos once it's out of date, redirecting them to an up-to-date video, or at least putting in the comments section, by the way, this information is out of date. If it's a small amount of information, there's no point in doing a whole new video, because it's not, because like on a forum you can edit your advice. You can't really do that on YouTube. You can delete a whole video, but you can't tweak it and then re-upload it for the same thing. It doesn't work like that. You've either got to just delete it or leave it and redirect people to a more up-to-date version. So but that's one theme. The other theme is general raiding. Now, there might be people who want some general raiding tips, not boss guides as such, because there are good boss guides out there. I don't need to do those. It takes a bit of effort to do a good quality one. No point in me spending that time doing it when there are already very good ones out there. Sometimes though, there's a few little gaps again, a few little tips that maybe aren't mentioned in there, so I might do short ones on particularly tough ones. I'm planning on doing one on Gorfiend this weekend, because that's a proper guild blocker, and there are a few little tips and tricks that you pick up, and I'll do a short one on that to help people out on there. Again, not a how-to guide, but maybe a tips and tricks just to help it all go smoothly, and maybe the cumulative effect will be a kill, whereas maybe at the moment you're wiping on it. But other things as well, it might concern useful add-ons and how to use those useful add-ons. It might concern just other general raiding strategies as well that might be useful for various bosses as well as boss specific. Another theme, of course, we've got a new expansion coming out now, Legion. Of course, I'm dying to talk about Legion. I'm going to do a bit more of that as well. We've had some information out already, and I've done videos on that. And as we get more information, as I get into the beta, hopefully earlier on later, then I'll be able to update with concrete stuff. But in the meantime, they do keep giving us little tidbits, and it's fun to sort of think what they're going to do about it. So this weekend I've been thinking recently about dungeons, how they can incentivize dungeons. There are some obvious things they can do, because I'm going to talk more about that the weekend, because I've got some ideas on that one. And then the other one is just general WoW stuff, general WoW chatter, what's in the news, what's going on in WoW at the moment, just general gossip, what's going on with me, what's going on in the World of Warcraft, which I'm going to call the Word of Warcraft. And unless someone's got a better idea. And then just as a way of sort of letting people know, this is not going to enhance your gameplay. This particular strand is not going to help you do anything. It's just a bit of chat, a bit of gossip. And as with all these things, as I say, if you want me to talk about anything, or you want any advice on anything, or you've got any suggestions for stuff, then put it in the comments, put it on Twitter, email me, whatever. Okay? So, till the weekend. See you later.